I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Okay, this one's going to be fun. Let's do back to one of the mental mindset you need, the optimistic mindset, the investor mindset to get ahead and to have financial success. I'm going to call this one Why You're Not Rich Yet. And I say yet because many of my loyal followers here, the 5,000 plus followers I've got, are well on their way to achieving financial security. They bought their principal residence, or maybe they're in the process of saving the down payment for their principal residence. Many of you guys have got rental properties. Many of you have been maxing out your TFSA and your RSP and buying good low-cost ETFs through Vanguard and iShares, and you're well on your way. And so for you guys, this is just more positive affirmation. Stay the course. It's always good. I still look for positive affirmation in many facets of my life, from working out to nutrition to my stock investing to everything else. So it's always good to have the positive affirmation. For the other guys that are new to my blog here, I'm going to give you in a nutshell here the roadmap you're going to need if you want to have success. If you want to have, and that success could mean anything. It could be having a net worth of $500,000 and you're happy. It could be having a net worth of $5 million. That's the nice thing about financial security, and you set the bar. You set the goalpost as high or as low as you want. And the other thing I want to point out too to people is that I've blogged about this many times, and I talk about it in great detail in my book. Money and achieving any type of or wealth, let's put it that way, was never my focus or my motivator in life. It never has been. Money, I know it's going to sound funny to some of you guys, but it has never really been all that important to me. Instead, my business and my career has always been built on the challenges of building something from nothing. And I've always enjoyed kind of the systematic approach to starting with nothing and just chipping away at it, staying disciplined, and enjoying the journey as you climb the ladder. When it comes to my real estate business, I've often said that money is not the motivating factor of me earning commissions. I could care less. I've always built my business the way my father told me to build my business. And I've always had a passion for real estate. I enjoy it and I love it. But I treat my clients' money and purchases like they were my own. And that's always the way I've done it. And if you do that, if in any career, look after your clients and your customers, trust me, the money will come. In other words, the money and the wealth and the success is a byproduct of that. And that's what you should always focus on. The other thing, I've talked about it in my book, I've always been a minimalist. I was a minimalist before it became popular like it is now. I've always gotten by on less. I don't need a lot of material things. Yeah, I live in a nice house and I drive a nice car. And I'm under the belief, though, I don't need 10 pairs of shoes. I'd rather buy 2 really good high quality pairs as opposed to buying 10 cheap pairs. And the same thing with my clothes. I'll get 4 or 5 really high quality suits as opposed to buying a closet full of suits that are garbage. So, material things don't really mean a whole lot to me, thankfully. But here's some things that I'm going to tell you why you're not wealthy. This is why, or at least you're not on your path to financial success, becoming a multimillionaire. Let's put it that way. First thing is, you're relying on your employer, your government, other people for your success. And I've talked about this many times. Nothing wrong with being, on the corporate ladder here, being a lawyer or a doctor. Those are good paying careers. I've got clients that, are tradespeople. Many of them, though, are self-employed tradespeople making 6 figures. But, most people that I come across, the real successful ones usually are working for themselves, or they have a good career. They're a lawyer or a doctor or whatever, but they have some side businesses as well. And that leads me into the second one, is that most successful people, wealthy people that create any type of wealth, generally have multiple sources of income. Now, for me, I probably have about 8 sources of income. The main one for me, of course, is my work as a realtor, as a top producing 1% in the Greater Vancouver Real Estate Board realtor. So I do quite well. I make a nice income being a realtor. but I've also got a substantial a bit of income coming from my stock portfolio that I've been building up for the last 30 plus years. So I'm getting dividend checks on pretty much a weekly basis. I own probably 45 individual companies plus a dozen or so ETFs that are continuously paying me every quarter, or in some cases I own a fair number of companies like a Shaw Cable that pay me a monthly dividend check. So I've got a fair bit of passive income coming from my investment portfolio. I also have a fairly nice real estate portfolio that, again, I've been building for the last 33 years. I get tenants that I buy units, put a tenant in it. That tenant pays me a monthly rent check. Some of it is depending on how long I've owned it. I own some properties clear title, but for the most part, I've got a mortgage payment, I've got strata fees, I've got maintenance fees and everything else, property taxes. But at the end of the day, I'm still generating some income after my expenses. You know, I've got things like, I do have other ventures that I've invested in as silent investor in various startups and things like that. I've got some income coming from my YouTube channel that you're watching right now. I've got income coming from my book sales. So I've got a number of revenue streams. Most successful people, most people that create any type of wealth or financial security generally have multiple income streams. If you've only got one, I would suggest you work on getting some more. And these days, it's so much easier than when I started out with the internet and technology. I mean, I read stories in the Wall Street Journal and some of these magazines of some of these millennials now that are generating incredible amounts of income, via the internet through affiliate programs. There's all kinds of side hustles you can do now that will start slow, keep at it, that you can eventually cultivate into some pretty nice income sources. Some of the other things, you are drawn to negative people, and I've blogged about this many times before. Too many people follow people with no transparency, no track record. It's that misery loves company crowd that you need to get away from. I beg so many of you guys to just do a little research on some of the people you might be following here, whether that's Vancouver real estate or stock investing or whatever. Where are these people coming from? What kind of success have they had? You know, have them show you their cards. That's what you want to do. I mean, I would never take advice from someone unless I knew where they're coming from. It's kind of like, buying a car from a guy who doesn't have a driver's license. So you need to focus on people that have proven track records of success. They have transparency. But again, this misery loves company crowd, people love that because it makes them feel better about the mistakes they've made. But the problem is that they just get sucked into this kind of cocoon of negative doom and gloom, that it's not your fault, it's the government, or it's the foreign buyers, or it's the money launderers, or it's the realtors, or it's the banks, it's the government. It's just one thing after another. It never ends. There's always another flavor of the month that's going to prevent you or give you an excuse for your lack of success. Dial it out. You have to. You have to become an optimist and start following people that have got a proven track record of transparency. Tune out the same thing for a lot of the negative news. You've got to do your own homework on this. You can't be spoon-fed it. You've got to kind of seek out these successful people and get the advice from them that have got the track record. But again, it's a slow and systematic way to success. There are no grand slam home runs with either retiring early or maybe building a passive income machine that generates $100,000 or $150,000 a year for you. That's the final thing is you have to have your money working for you. Get multiple revenue streams, A, and then B, make sure that a lot of those revenue streams, or at least some of them, are passive. In other words, my stock portfolio is pretty much passive, even though I do put in some work on it every month. But it's more for the fact that I enjoy it. I like reading about companies. I like looking at their financial statements. I like reading about CEOs. I'm always, reading Wall Street Journal and Forbes and Fortune and Barron's magazine. So I enjoy it. But if I wanted to, I could really put my stock portfolio on cruise control and collect that nice income. I can almost live off my income. I could, just off my dividend income now to where I'm at. But that didn't come overnight. That took me 33 years to get it to that point, as I talk about it in my book. My real estate portfolio, not 100% passive, but almost. I've got tenants that I haven't spoken to in 2 years or so. The checks keep coming in. Sure, every now and again, you got to get a new tenant. The toilet breaks, you got to fix a dishwasher or whatever. But for the most part, it's passive. That's what you need, passive income. There are not enough working hours in the day. You're not going to earn your way to financial freedom. You've got to take the money you're earning from your main job and parlay it into assets that will pay you to hold them passively. Remember that. The secrets of the stuff I'm telling you here has been around forever. And again, it's not a get-rich-quick scheme, because there are no get-rich-quick schemes. Tune those guys out. Some of these guys that advertise on my YouTube channel, they pay me. YouTube sends me a fat check every month now for these ads you'll see running before you watch my video. But I can tell you, skip them. Skip those ads. They're all garbage, these seminars and most of this crap. They're get-rich schemes, day trading strategies, flipping homes with no money down. It's all garbage. It doesn't work. Becoming financially independent, saving for retirement, building a nice lifestyle for yourself takes time. It's a slow, methodical way. That's the only way to do it. It's the way I did it, and I spell it out in my book. But it's the guaranteed way to do it. Final thing I'll just leave you with, I've done a few blogs on this. The final thing that's separating you from mediocrity to becoming financially independent is you need to optimize your life in other ways. It's just one thing to work hard, save your money, pay yourself first, get a side hustle, get multiple streams of income, start getting your money earning passively. Those are all great, you need it. But if you want to be able to continue on this path at a high energy level, you have to have your life optimized in other ways. And that means getting enough sleep. It means eating a proper diet, a nutritious diet, watching your diet, and it means regular exercise. I've done a couple of blogs on it. All the successful people, from an Alex Gorski from Johnson & Johnson to a Tim Cook, professional athletes, successful people, all of them are generally optimized in other parts of their life. And that's how they're able to keep this machine, let's call it, going. That's how I'm able to get up at 5 or 5:30 every morning and go to the gym and work out at 6:30 or 7 a.m. I've got a nutritionist. I watch my diet. I get enough sleep. I'm disciplined in that way. But it pays. I spend a fair bit of money on supplements and food and high quality proteins and trainers and everything else. But I would never spend that money if I didn't think I was going to get it back out in higher income, being more productive, being sharper, more mentally focused. So that's kind of the final piece of the puzzle, is just having your life optimized in other areas. Have a stable family life. Don't be doing too much drinking or smoking. I won't get into all that stuff, but that will help keep your longevity and keep the machine rolling and keep it lubricated, so to speak. Hope you enjoyed this one. It's all pretty easy stuff. It's stuff that I've been preaching on my blog here for 10 years. So for you guys, for most of my viewers, this is just positive affirmation. Stay the course. I get so many wonderful stories. So many people, are watching my blog here are my clients. I've got many future clients that are watching this blog. I get so many nice emails from people saying they've been watching my blog and it's helped them. Because I've got viewers now all over the world. It's fantastic. Just stay the course. It's positive affirmation if you're on your way and you're doing these things that I've told you. If you're not, hey, give it a try. Turn positive. Start incorporating some of the things I just told you here, and the bar can be as high as you want. The sky is the limit. I'm Owen Bigland. As always, I'll see you next week.